Roy, do you see progress being made here?
No, listen, you'd be worried for the manager. I would never stand here and say I expect the manager to lose his job, but the pressure, no doubt, from last year. We obviously remember the FA Cup and they got out of jail in a few of the cup games, but the pressure must be building. Whatever you say, I think when you're playing for the big teams, and obviously Man United is one of the biggest, I'd hate this tag if I was playing that you're a cup team, and this is what this team, and that means in terms of league, you can't turn up week in, week out. I'm not talking about challenging Man City or even Arsenal, but I'm talking about competing with Liverpool, Chelsea, obviously teams like Aston Villa, who are at the moment, Spurs are in that mix, and at this moment in time, you look at Man United, and they're slightly behind them. That's the worry for me. Not what Man City and Arsenal do, because I do think they need more time.
Do you just want to see progress? Is that what you're looking for? Is it better performances? Is it a consistency of performances?
So.
Is it a style of play?
And Arteta, when they first got in, but you always felt, and I know Arteta won the FA Cup pretty quickly, and Klopp was getting to go. There was this element of he had people behind him. The feel-good factor was coming back. But when you keep getting beaten, like they did last year at home, you finish in 8, and you get beaten well today, and you're on the back of a defeat against Brighton, you soon lose that. You know, as I mentioned earlier, when the stadium's getting empty after 60 minutes or the game is over, that will build massive pressure for the manager. Of course it will. It's only natural. But of course I wanted to turn things around. But the longer it takes, and the more you come to matches here and you're getting beaten comfortably by one of your biggest rivals, of course the pressure is going to build.
Daniel, what's your take? You don't have to be an ex-Manchester United player to have a view on what's going on here.
No, I think from a formation perspective, they've gone about this in a way to try and get results, in my opinion. The manager's, missing players that he would probably prefer to have in his starting lineup. So give him a bit of leeway there. But I think in terms of how he set the team up today, I watched them last week play against Fulham. Well, I think it was Fulham last week. The game last week, they lost against Brighton, sorry. Yeah. And I was like, they're way too open. They're playing like a 4-2-4. So for me, before the game, I was thinking, surely they're not going to play against Liverpool the same way. So I was disappointed with the way in which the team was set up, because I was surprised by it, to be honest. They were way too open. So it was inevitable that the result was going to be a win for Liverpool based on how Man United were playing, in my opinion.
There's been lots of changes regarding, upstairs or whatever, but supporters want to see stuff on the pitch. Lots of changes. It's the same problems.
But we've seen new signings out there today in De Ligt and Xerxes as well, at the end of a long list. Well, Ugarte is at the end of that long list, and we haven't seen him yet, but in the Erik Ten Hag era, £616 million so far. I want to ask Daniel specifically on De Ligt and Xerxes. Do you think these are two players that can take this football club forward?
I'll be totally transparent. I'm not quite sure. I think they're players who are good players. Do I think they're unbelievable top players? I'm not sure about that. But look, they're coming into a team where the manager's identified these players to be guys who he believes can help the team move forward. So at the end of the day, Xerxes, for me, played well at Bologna. He's got ability. De Ligt, he's been at many top clubs, and he's coming to Manchester United to try and change what's going on right now. But is he at peak form? Is he at the best he's ever been? I'm not sure.
The biggest problem they've got at the moment, that Manchester United is not a destination right now for the top players in Europe anyway. Just isn't. Over the last 10 years, it has been a graveyard for players just generally that have come to the club with big reputations and they've not done well. Whether it's homegrown players, whether it's national players from Great Britain, or whether it's players from international soil. One thing that Roy just said there is that when I came back from Valencia, I think in the April, I came to a game. It was one of Louis van Gaal's last games, and I saw the stadium was sort of half empty during a match. I think they were playing Crystal Palace on like a Tuesday night, and I thought, that is a signal. So today there being 25,000 in with 5 minutes to go is a real problem for Erik Ten Hag. That can't continue, and I think he'll get a few months to be able to get used to these new players coming in, Højlund coming back, Ugarte coming in, and I think they'll assess it at that time. He can't be in 8th at the end of November and going into December. He's got to be up there in that top 4 or 5. He has to be.
So is 6th okay? Oh. I'm deadly serious. You tell me, for you and say Manchester United, the biggest club in the world. Would Real Madrid or Bayern Munich accept being 6th in their league? We're saying 8th. That's where we are with Man United right now. That if he's in 8th in a couple of months, he'll be okay.
But you look at this team as well. You ask yourself, can you hang your hat? Are they really hard to beat? Are they brilliant in terms of keeping clean sheets? You go, no, they're very open. Are they brilliant going forward, scoring loads of goals? You go, no, their goals record last year was probably one of the poorest in the top half. So you're looking to try and hang your hat on something, and you come to Old Trafford, you come watch the matches, and you're still kind of, scratching your head?
I'm hanging my hat on Ugarte. I believe he's a really good signing, and I think you've seen the stats, how he plays in Europe. He's one of the best defensive midfielders. It's what they need right now. So the reality of it is, if you're talking about breaking down play, transition, all these teams doing all these things, they are very open. His job and what he's great at is helping defensively.
I've no problem. So with these players were mentioned there, and there's lots to go through, and the lads again mentioned today. There's no doubt these are good players, but I think they're coming from different leagues, and a lot of obviously from the Dutch league that he's worked with before. But the challenge is physically and mentally in the Premier League. I think that's the big challenge. There's no doubt these are good players and they go and play for big clubs in other leagues. But the challenge is the Premiership, that physical, being at it week in, week out. And a lot of these players, because they're now a cup team, don't seem to do it week in, week out. And the sign of a really top player and a top team is they turn up every week. And even on a bad day, they grind out a result. This team doesn't do it.
When you're talking about where this team's going, let's go back to the beginning. The first player he wanted to sign was Frankie de Jong as a holding midfield player. We know what type of player he is. Liverpool tried to do exactly the same and didn't get their man Zubimendi. Liverpool then didn't go and buy a completely different player in Casemiro to fill that role. They've gone with what they've got. And obviously we've seen the situation with Casemiro today, unfortunately for the lad. But how has that happened where he's in a situation where he's now actually got 5 players I think he had at Ajax? How are we not seeing his thing? The club have allowed him to spend hundreds of millions of pounds by players from the Dutch league, players he's worked with before, and we still don't see anything really about where this club's going or the style of play. And it's not even just about Man United need to win, and you know, Man United should always be competitive. But surely a manager now, after this long, we should see what his team's about. We see it with Postecoglou as soon as he comes in. Now, that doesn't mean they're going to be successful. They're doing okay, Spurs. We don't know which slot, but we're still asking the same questions of this manager.
And to Gary's point, he is surely going to get time, given that he's been allowed to make more signings of players that he has worked with before. And this is with the new hierarchy. So he says, judges at the end of the season, we will win trophies. So I'm thinking back a couple of weeks to the Monday Night Football predictions, Gary. Do you think that Manchester United will finish above Liverpool this season?
Yeah, why not? I might as well go down fighting and burning. Why not?
Go down swinging, bro.
I'm a Manchester United fan. I've sat on this. Look, Liverpool and City have been outstanding. If Jurgen Klopp was the manager in the last 7 or 8 years, Liverpool will have challenges during this season. Liverpool are a better team than Manchester United at this moment in time. Of course they are, but I'm going to back my team. Of course I'm going to back my team. Why not?
Roy?
I'm going to stick with United. I have to.
You're just saying it just to say it now. We're looking at it. You're just saying it just to say it, bro.
Just relax.
All right,
I still think United will get in the top 4.
Hey, we're only 3 games in, aren't we? So
Exactly. He wants him sacked.
Anna Slaughter said himself, we are only 3 games in.
I don't want him sacked. I want him to stay.